The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Herod the Tetrarch heard about all that was happening. He was greatly perplexed because some were saying, John has been raised from the dead. Others were saying, Elijah has appeared. Still others, one of the ancient prophets has arisen. But Herod said, John I beheaded. Who then is this about whom I hear such things? And he kept trying to see him. The Gospel of the Lord. In our first reading from the prophet Haggai, we begin the book of the prophet Haggai. And the desire of the book of the prophet Haggai is the preparation for the coming of the restoration of the temple. The first part of the book places this event in time. It's not a story made up along the way, but an actual record account of the actions of King Darius and the words of the prophet Haggai, that call that the Lord has to rebuild the temple, to bring his people together. That the preparation they need to do isn't just we're building a building, but actually gathering a people prepared for worship. The Lord wants us who have sown much but brought in little to restore the proper balance in our lives. Those of us who have been eaten but have not been satisfied, this reality that in pursuing our own desires and our own pursuits and our own plans, we are ultimately unsatisfied. For the only thing that can truly satisfy us is the Lord himself and his plan for our lives. We have drunk, but not been exhilarated. So even when we celebrate, we can't have the full satisfaction we desire. Even our celebration, our happy times, are not completely satisfying. We have clothed ourselves, but not been warmed. We've been able to prepare protections around our lives, but even those protections haven't really protected us. We've earned wages for a bag with holes in it. Plan for our lives, the holes in the bag constantly leaking out, that frivolous effort of putting more and more and more energy into our own plans and our own desires and our own ways of doing life, leaving the Lord behind with the slow leak of dissatisfaction, incompleteness, imperfection. Well, in our gospel this morning, the people of Israel still have that lack of satisfaction in their lives. They are still longing for a Savior, someone who would bring that satisfaction. John the Baptist seemed to be bringing some of that satisfaction, and people had great delight in it. But in our story today, we hear how Herod takes responsibility for his actions, how this great uprising, this great energy, this great movement within the people of Israel, similar to John the Baptist, is happening again, and it perplexes him. He thought that by beheading John the Baptist, he could end this movement. He could end and have control over the people of Israel. But God had other plans. Immediately preceding this gospel, the Lord sends the disciples out 2 by 2 to preach the gospel, that the formation they have been receiving for the last few weeks in our readings can take root. We've had a lot of discipleship readings, preparing of the disciples to be sent out. And so today we see some of the fruit of them being sent out, that buzz that they create in the community by spreading the gospel, by doing the works that Jesus has called them to do, brings up to the attention of those in power that something is happening, something is perplexing. So the question for us today is, since we have received teachings and discipleships over the last few weeks in our reflections in the gospel, has there been a change in your life? Have people noticed the gospel being proclaimed in your world? Or is it just the same as it was 6 months ago? Is there any change at all? There's certainly a rising change in our country. The gospel is being proclaimed. Have you participated in that? Have you shared the good news of the death and resurrection of Christ? There cannot be a claim today that you don't have help. You have plenty of help, plenty of people willing to die for the gospel to show you the way. Why haven't you raised a buzz in the world, in your families? Why is it enough to just come and have a private faith, with just you and Jesus having your good, peaceful time together? We need Herod to hear the buzz again, to know that even when he kills the leaders of the gospel, it persists, it lives on. That's our call today. It's been our call for 2,000 years. The world has tried for 2,000 years to eliminate our leaders. But in every country around the world, the gospel lives on. It persists through the persecution. In fact, it escalates its power after the persecution. So our prayer today is that we be a force of that escalation of the spread of the gospel, rather than be content with our current pattern of prayer.